Testing. All right. Who's going to join me for the emceeing today? Chicken, next time. All right. Good morning, everybody. How are you going?
Good morning.
Give me some energy. Come on. I know it's early.
Yeah.
So, this is Morning Startup. Welcome. My name is Scott Glue, and this is...
Hi, and my name is Erin Clark.
We do this every 2 weeks, rain, hail or shine. We get an interesting presenter and we talk about startup-related stuff. So hopefully you're on that kind of area of building a product or starting something and want to learn something cool. And one of the best things about Morning Startup is to have half an hour of networking at the end of the talk. So get to know each other and see who else is in the room and see if anyone else can help you out and you can help others. That's really what we're here for. Speaking of which, let's get to know you.
All right, it is time to play The Price is Right.
So, yeah, shameless plugs, announcements. If you want to stand up and do a 20-second pitch or talk or whatever you want to do about what you're working on, why you came along, and, if you've got an ask, if you're looking for someone or anything you like. I'll start. So my name's Scott Glue. I run a company called FastView. I'm looking for developers. And we help companies monitor their internet usage to detect risky online behaviour. That's the worst pitch I've ever done.
What kind of developers might you be looking for?
React, Next.js, Elasticsearch, if you've got any experience with that, or OpenSearch. All right, who's next?
G'day, my name's Lee Beatty. I'm from Seals Eyewear. We're more than eyewear. We develop stuff for soldiers and their survivability. And I'm here because, are you building the product for me? Like, I'm a soldier, ex-soldier, so I developed for me, but let's see why I shouldn't be developing it for me. But there's a lot of other areas that this eyewear can fit into, but I just want to know why this was interesting to me. That am I building it for me or am I building it for someone else? And I always thought it was me, but let's see.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, so we do have Ash
this
today.
one's
He's going to be
easy.
talking about user personas. I should have mentioned that. Have you got that covered?
Hey everyone, my name's JK, I'm building a tool to work with patents. If anyone's ever done any patent work before, it's very legal, technical jargon, and if you have to do prior art, that can be quite painful. I am never done patents before or been involved with them, but I'm working on a site with someone who has, so I'm here to learn about my user personas because I am definitely not one of them. So yeah, thanks.
Fantastic. Cool.
Awesome.
Hi everyone, my name is Goran, I come from Finland. I'm here for a couple of months. I'm a co-founder of Rundit. It's a VC tool for back office, for venture capital, where they follow their investments, their returns, and write reports. Like I said, I'm here for 3 months, so I'm eager to get to know you and see the community here. Thank you.
Excellent.
Welcome.
It's a good time to be here too.
All right. I feel this is nice. I don't have to go far today, do I?
I didn't just stick my hand up.
Oh, you did?
Well, you have now, Dave.
All right. Hey everyone, I'm Dave. I'm from Better Labs. I'm currently building a prototype called Kite.site, which is like a UGC Shopify, so helping the digital creators just manage and build their own sales and their own workflows.
Who knows what UGC stands for?
Is there a test at the end? I didn't know that.
There's one.
One.
User-generated
top
content.
of the class. All right,
Correct.
can we get someone from this side of the room? Beautiful.
Hi everyone, this is Kamal. I came here just to find out like-minded people. I do provide different services like 3D printing and drone photogrammetry I provide. That's all, and I'm looking for collaborations if anybody interested. Thank you.
Awesome.
How exciting. Anyone else?
One down here. maybe?
One down here.
Oh, two bit down here. Sweet.
Hey everyone, my name's Sam. I literally came up with this idea this morning, and I hope someone can tell me I'm wrong, but I'm looking at doing AI-generated tax returns. I'd love to chat with an accountant to see what they know about tax returns and perhaps test the idea and tell me why it's a terrible one. So, yeah.
Crank the temperature up to 10 and get really creative with those tax
Oh, I
returns.
love that.
Hi, everyone. My name is Nina. Okay, so on the Sunday of the 8th of December, here, there will be a little event called Cozy Coding Sunday. It is my little baby. And basically, we all come together and we work on our passion projects, whatever the passion project is, or a startup. So if you want to come along and just work on your projects, that'd be great as well. I have an event on my LinkedIn page, but you can always come and ask me. That's it.
Fantastic. What's it called? Cozy Coding Sundays. Is it here?
Yes.
Awesome.
We should post that on the morning startup. And
Yeah.
she's also going to post it on Slack as well.
Yes.
All right.
Do we have a slide for the number of people?
No, I didn't put that together.
Hands up here who, by the way, Dave, one of the other organisers of Morning Startup, for those who don't know us. And she didn't introduce herself as well. She helps us as well, Nina. So Nina, stand up, say hello. We share the love here. Hands up who's not actually registered with meetup.com and you've just come here because you've asked a friend.
Like
No?
you're not RSVP'd to a meetup group or joined the Morning Startup group on meetup.com.
Excellent.
Go share the love. We are 7 members away from 7,000
7,000 members
in the community. So that's a big number. Jesse, you're watching, I know you are. I hope you've got deep pockets, my friend, because your bar tab's going to be big. We're planning to do something, I think, probably in the new year. I think when we come back.
Don't make promises you can't keep, Dave.
Oh, well, we've said it before. I had to get a liquor license the last one. But I think we should do something. But if you can't share the love, we're literally near 7,000 members. This is a big deal. And I think we should give everybody a big round of applause. Well, not yet, but when we do it.
So, yeah.
In next one,
Dave's going to monitor the
next
number.
one, I'll be like, you'll hear
minutes.
me from down south shouting, we've hit 7,000.
Anyone on the live stream? Come on,
Yeah,
make sure
7,000. Let's see if we can do it while we're in this
share
event.
it with 7 friends. Can't be hard. All right, nice. Cool. Any more shameless plugs while we're still going? All right, we'll move on.
No?
Because we've got a cool talk to get to, and we don't want to hold you up forever. We've got a couple of shameless plugs or events and announcements to go through. So Founder Sundowner is the first Wednesday of every month. If you're not a morning person, this is why this exists, so you can come and have a chat with startup founders at a pub, have some pizza, have a drink, and get to know each other. But even though it's the first Wednesday of every month, that falls on West Tech Fest Week this week. So we've cancelled Founder Sundowner for December because it clashes with a very awesome event, which is the Freo Startup Fest. So don't go to Founder Sundowner, go to Freo Startup Fest. There's still tickets available online. I know, because I just bought mine last night.
And do you want to model your T-shirt so that everyone can see that you're representing West Tech Fest? So come along. You can also get beautiful WTF merch.
Absolutely. And there's a range of events. So it's not just Freo Startup Fest, which is on the Wednesday in the afternoon and evening. It starts with West Tech Women, West Tech Coast, down to the beach. There's West Tech Stand Up, which is a new event this year, which I don't know a lot of. I believe it's
decently
comedy.
priced, and of an evening. So for those of you who still have muggle jobs, which I learned the phrase muggle jobs recently, I think it's beautiful. So for those who aren't taking the whole week off work to feel the West Tech Fest love, stand-up's a great one. I think it's only like $15 as well, so it's decently priced. And it's a whole pile of comedy specifically for startup founders.
Wow, okay. Well, there's a lot to make fun of with startup founders, so that should be fun. Freo, and then the main event on the Thursday this year, and then there's the Innovation Showcase at the same place and the same time. So get around it, get your tickets if you haven't already. It's in 2 weeks' time. And there's a whole bunch of satellite events going on as well, 2 of which are hosted by us. So we don't have to cancel Morning Startup, the morning event, because Freo is in the afternoon. They've rearranged things. So we're still running Morning Startup, but we've got a special one. We've got a double header. We're going to start off with Kate Kerwin, who is amazing. If you haven't heard of Kate Kerwin, where the hell have you been? She's the WA Young Australian of the Year. She runs a company called She Codes, helping women get into coding and get jobs through tech, which is amazing. And she's going to talk about running an impact-driven business. Is that right, Nina? Yes. Any else to add to that?
No, it's just that she's really, really excited. This is going to be her last event, speaking event for this year, and she's coming straight from US to give this talk. So I think it's going to be really interesting as well.
That's awesome. So pretty special.
And I don't know how quickly she's going to be doing this in the morning after getting off the plane from the US, but it should be
2 days after.
2 days after. She's got 2 days. Okay. Jet lag might be lingering. We'll see. And then we're going to break and have our networking session and eat the food, thanks to Keep Space, as we usually do. But then at 9 o'clock, we're going to kick off with another event, which is a panel with the amazing guys from Mesh Points. So whether you know it or not, if you're new to the startup community, there are a bunch of programs that you can get involved with to help you out in all sorts of verticals.
And I believe this one's pretty special because to get all of these people on a panel in the same room at the same time has been quite a logistical adventure. So definitely come along, because I think getting all of these people in the same place at the same time in person is actually a very, very exciting thing to happen.
Very nearly didn't happen, so it will literally never happen. Well, we'll see. We'll see if we can hit them up later in the year. I think, But so we got Bloom, we got Kerry, we got Curtin Uni, Space Cube, ECU. All of these amazing folks run programs for the startup community and entrepreneurship. So come along, hear all about it, and then we'll wrap that up at 9:45 and get kicked out of here at 10. So between 7:30 and 10 in 2 weeks' time, big event. Come along. Any questions? Good. Now, I don't know if this is part of West Tech Fest, a satellite event, but why not? It's on the same week. We've just got an email during the week to tell everyone about it. So Cheryl Mack, amazing VC from over east, as we like to say here in the West, coming to talk about mistakes about angel investing. So if anyone's ever thought about giving money to startups and getting into the investing side of things, this is going to be a really cool event to get around. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I also, I'm a graduate of the Venture X HQ program. Doesn't exist anymore, but amazing organisation. They run great events. And these types of events, while they're typically pitched at investors, if you're looking for funding, these are also super helpful to meet investors and also get a good understanding of what the process looks like from the perspective of an angel investor.
Absolutely. Is anyone thinking of raising money soon for their startup? Yeah, a few nods. Might be a good idea to go along to an event that's full of investors. Just an idea. All right, cool. And a few thank yous too. We've got the New Industries Fund from the Department of Jobs, Tourism, Science and Innovation. They help us with the live stream that's going on at the back there. So hello to everyone on the live stream. They also run a bunch of great programs from helping investors with money to the Innovators of the Year, and for startups, the Innovation Booster Grants, which is 40 grand for your idea that you can apply for at any time. And the Commercialisation Bridge Grants, if you're more on the scale up, it's $200,000 of match funding. There's a whole bunch of things. So get onto the New Industries Fund webpage.
And they've also got a few great specialist areas as well. So particularly I'm super interested in the Creative Tech Village because that's part of what I do in my space, but we've also got Cyber West, we've got data science, and we've also got life sciences as well. So if you've got a startup with a particular specialisation, check out some of these hubs as well.
Cool, thank you, Jitsi. And as we mentioned, we're being live streamed, so if you want to check that out now, if you're in the room, it's a bit silly because you're here, but you can go to perthvideo.com.au/morningstartupperth with hyphens. And thank you, perthvideo.com.au. Amo! Woo!
I was going to say we can put someone on the spot.
Actually, I think I've got... Is this slide still relevant? Is that still your latest episode?
Yes, it is. That is still our latest episode of Weird Growth. Hi, I'm Jack. I'm from Ammo Marketing. I'm the General Manager. Really excited for West Tech Fest in a couple of weeks. We'll be there. And just a plug for us, we're doing a live podcast at West Tech Main and looking after a podcast booth. So there's going to be a number of different startup podcasts from the ecosystem that will be featured throughout the day. So you can come and check that out. If you want to break from another session, that's a panel or something, come over to the podcast booth. Check that out.
Fantastic. And
Awesome.
if you want help with your marketing, they know what they're doing, so go and have a chat with Jack. All right, Beecham Group.
Thanks.
Go for it.
Go for it. Well, Beecham Group, exactly. What Scott's looking for is if you're looking to hire someone or you're in the tech space and looking for work, Beecham Group are tech specialists in Western Australia. So Glenn's been running Beecham Group for a long time and really understands the industry and the market in Western Australia.
Yeah, so get around them. They've been helping us out since the start at Morning Startup. Keep Space, Jesse on the live stream if you're there again, checking our pitch for you. So, who's in e-commerce? Anyone doing e-commerce, shipping things around? Got one here. One over there, cool. So they have a warehouse in Perth, they have a warehouse in Melbourne, they have a really cool digital platform to help you ship things around the world. So they're in 3PL, third-party logistics. Cool, so if that's an acronym you know about, get around Keep Space, and they help us with the food. It's delicious, thank you very much, Jesse. We'll get into that at the end of the talk. And we also have Tech On, we've got Matt here from Tech On. How you going? They're developers in Nepal.
Well. I'll just talk about the two events that are coming up. So next week on Monday, we have lovely Erin on our panel. We're doing an Ask Me Anything CTO edition event. So we've got about 9 people registered so far. And looking to get about 20 if we can. So next Monday in Cannington on the 25th from 5:30 p.m. If you're interested, come and talk to me after this. We also a sponsor of Frio Startup Fest, and Nina is a speaker for our tech talks. So we've got a 20-minute block in there. Nina is, I believe your talk is called Why a Lean's Tech Stack Matters. Is that right? Yeah. Yes, so we've got Nina, we've got Brian Foodie, we've got Melissa Horton from MakerX, and then we've also got Sean from Edison Labs as well. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's 4 people there.
Started team.
Yes, and on our CTO panel, Erin, Kale Miller, Lee Goldsworthy, and Vishmi De Silva. So come and talk to me after this if you're interested in this CTO event or devs in Nepal.
That's right. So I've used TechOn before. They didn't really talk about TechOn, but it's all managed here in Perth, and they're developers in Nepal. Really, really good, cost-effective developers if you need them. All right.
Space Cubed, that's where we are. So Space Cubed do a number of different things, but if you're looking for somewhere to work out of, there's a series of different places across both Western Australia and New South Wales as well, out in Western Sydney. So if you're looking for not just a place to park your stuff, but also a community, Space Cubed is great. And do you want to walk us through? Yeah, so if you're new to the startup community, just make sure you subscribe to Startup News. They put out news articles about the startup ecosystem mainly in WA. And if you have a story that you want to tell, they'll actually send a journo out to your place and do a story on you. So a really good way to get the word out, get some press. Startup WA, they're a body for lobbying to government. So if you've got, hey, we need more funding for startups or whatever it is, all of those programs that we see run by Jitsi, it's probably thanks to the great work that Startup WA is doing. So become a member. It's free. If you're in the startup space, you should be a member of Startup WA. And +8, they're an accelerator hosted out of Space Cubes, run out of Space Cubes as a program, and helps you learn to be a better entrepreneur. So get around that. As we said before, and we've got the Mesh Points panel coming up next week, but scan this QR code and you can actually chat with a little bot and say, hey, I'm trying to do an ag tech startup or something, and it will connect you to the right programs in Perth. So come next fortnight and you'll find all out about this. Absolutely, yeah. But, I see a few cameras going up. Is that QR code still working? Hopefully they haven't changed the URL on me or something. Let me know. Yeah? Is it working? No? Do I need to... can I zoom in? No, I can't even zoom in. Yeah, all right, cool. Well, if you need it, come and grab us afterwards. Get in touch with us. We're Morning Startup on all the things. Actually, a shout out, slack.morningstartup.com. That wasn't working for a long time. I just found out how to actually do the invite thing on Slack again. So head there. We would like this to become in between morning startup events. We need some place to chat and to talk to other entrepreneurs and all this sort of stuff. And also people out in the regions as well. So shout out to everyone in the regions. It can be quite isolating as a startup founder, particularly if you can't make it to face-to-face events. So don't be shy. And what we would also love to see is if you've video pictures, don't be shy. Anything that you want to put out into the universe. If you've got something that you want to promote on social media, post it in Slack and you'll have a community of raving fans ready to support you. Yeah, that's right. And shout out to Francois from Space Sync, or Sync Space, I think, last week. He was asking about the Innovation Booster grants that wasn't successful for their application and how to make it successful. So just get on there and have a chat, introduce yourself in the welcome channel, and we'd like to make this a better space because it's been a bit of a ghost town for the last few years. So get on it. Cool. And that is formalities out of the way. Yeah. Never get tired of that. Thank you. All right, but that's probably it from us. We're going to hand over to why you're here to learn about crafting effective user personas with Ash. So Ash is a brand designer. I came across Ash a few months ago, and he's been thinking about doing this talk for a long time. We're like, we need a deep dive into actually doing user personas because I don't think it's very well understood. There's many different ways to do it, and doing it properly it really is key, actually understanding your customers. So that's probably enough for me. I'm going to hand over to Ash. Please make him welcome, Ash Vadolia.
Awesome.
And that is your clicker, sir.
Thank you.
Is that working? All right. See if I can remember this.
It certainly is.
Keyboard shortcut.
Morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday, by the way. I hope everyone's got good Wednesday energy, because we're already halfway through the week. Yeah. And unless you're the opposite way around, in which case, oh no, we're already halfway through the week. So I realise there are a handful of other people who have already done similar marketing talks, but I'm glad that I could kind of slot in halfway between a few of them. Could I get a show of hands, everyone who is part of a startup right now? Yes, majority of the room. Cool. I think we're going to be on the same page. Also a show of hands, anyone who's worked with or who's created a user persona before. Awesome, even better. So, by the end of this session, I hope that I can introduce anyone who hasn't used user personas before into them. Which, to be honest, that seems like most of the room. I could just walk off now. Shall we just? No. Never mind, I'm not going to run away that quickly. Secondly, I want to give you guys something to implement into your business instantly. And I'll start with a quick introduction of me. Hi. My name is Ash, and I have worked across Australia and the UK in my career so far, working mostly as a graphic designer. I'm currently running a branding agency called Rewired Graphics, and I'm current chair of AGDA WA, which is the Australian Graphic Design Association WA branch. And I'm already associated with the Flux and the Spacecube community because I helped at least a couple of businesses within these two buildings to grow out of their actual, what they called their small to medium phase. And then they grew up to, I think, 20 people. And yeah, lastly, I'm a huge car geek. So if you resonate with any of those, let's chat afterwards. But yeah, sorry, rather than going on more about me, I thought, why not talk about what I actually do on a day-to-day basis? Which, this is arguably the best graphic I've ever found on branding and how to visualize what happens in my profession. And it's a brilliant graphic because it starts off with understanding the core of a business, which I spend a lot of time doing. And then it goes into defining what a company does for others. Then it goes into communicating that outwards. And then lastly, the most fun part is actually visualizing it all for businesses and creating something which is purely outward facing. And if I'm not ever consulted for one of these topics, I'm usually involved in the entire process for some companies. But today, we're going to talk about audience. And the reason why we're sticking to one topic is because you guys will have something that you can walk away with. I should double check actually, is everyone good with taking notes for today? Because there will be a walk through that will be really useful if you could actually just follow along and create a persona while we're actually having this presentation. And yeah, this is a question that got asked to me before I even put together this presentation, which was, what are the two most common mistakes that I see startups make when it comes to defining their audiences? Now, the first one is always been when founders and CEOs class their audience as everyone, or when you say can't be everyone, they always respond with anyone with money. And I know that's that is so common. I've heard it so many times, but it has a pretty simple response to it. When you try to speak to everyone, you end up speaking to no one. Does anyone need me to elaborate on that point? Cool. I'm glad we're on the same page with that. The next mistake, next most common, is oddly enough at the other end of the scale. Founders will always make themselves the target audience and the target user. I understand that's going to strike a nerve with at least one person in the room. But I'm not actually, realistically, that's not actually a bad place to start. I understand the logic behind it because the founders behind any product usually come across that solution looking for a solution for their own problem. So it's not a terrible place to start, but I will still use an example to go over why it might not be the best to develop your product further with, and it definitely isn't the best to use that persona or use that character reference for marketing or branding. So this is an example of from a company called Social Pilot, which is a social media scheduling tool which I created out of nowhere. But it actually displays pretty accurately the difference between a founder and a user. And it starts mainly with their challenges. So a founder's challenge the founder's challenge of this company was very much that he had too many accounts to manage. The user was just spending too much time on social media, because the user was an internal marketing team manager or internal marketing team member for a small, medium-sized enterprise, whereas the founder was a social media strategist. They often spent their days doing something different but the same. But for the founder, the priority for solving this problem was actually that was their top priority. They didn't want to solve any other issues, and they don't spend their time doing anything else. For the user, turns out they had 10 other tasks to do. 9 other tasks to do, and this was just one of many. As a result, their goals were often quite different as well. The founder wants to limit his tasks to just once a day, and the user wants to limit that task to even less time in their month, or rather, a lot less frequently. And as a result, their attitudes were, as you might expect, not aligning. The founder was pretty enthusiastic, obviously, about solving this one problem. The user was mildly interested because, of course, this was only one of many problems that they had. And here's some examples of just like how you would approach 3 different contexts, so branding, marketing, and user experience design. If you were to reference one of these characters in either context. So, for example, you take a branding task, like creating a tagline for a company. If you were to aim it towards a founder, you'd end up with something along the lines of mastering every account for the social media hub, the ultimate hub for social media strategists. Very targeted towards that particular user. Whereas the general user, not the founder, you'd end up with something which is a whole lot more fulfilling. And it encompasses a lot more of the marketing side of things. Streamline, schedule, succeed. Your marketing workflow simplified. So it doesn't necessarily cut the needs of that founder out. In fact, it kind of encompasses more than just what the founder would do in a specialist role. As an example for marketing, if I were to say one of these was created for the user and one of them was created for the founder, which one would you say is created with the user in mind? Hands up for A and hands up for A. Take your time reading it. So A is do you work in social media? The more efficient way is to manage multiple accounts. So this is the more efficient way to manage multiple accounts. That's A. And B is social media taking too much of your time? Get on top of your schedule months in advance. Okay, so hands up for A. It's one person. Hands up for B. Yes, correct. So that one has the user more in mind. Now we have one for, in a user experience context. So if we were to design an interface, which one would you say is also more geared towards a user? I gave away too much there, didn't I? Is it the one that clearly shows only a day schedule or starts with a month schedule? So hands up for A. Awesome. Hands up for B. Yay. We're on the same page. So essentially, that's a pretty basic example of how an effective user persona can be used to build connection, drive engagement, and shape a product. Yes.
Just a quick question. Can you just explain the thinking around why you created two personas, like the founder and the user, like in terms of contrast?
Of course.
Also, can you use the other microphone, please? That one's sounds fine.
Sorry. Yes. That one's better, right? Is that one better?
Way better.
If everyone's got any questions, I'll bring the mic to you for the live stream.
Cool. So I use the founder as an example because it's better than using no one. And if you are using no one as an example within the business, then you can definitely end up spending money when you don't need to. And kind of the same goes with a founder. It narrows down your audience somewhat, but it could still steer a company in the wrong direction when it comes to marketing and branding. You don't really want to make marketing and branding decisions based on just what the founder wants. You definitely need to focus on the audience. I think the same will definitely go for product development. So, now that I've kind of briefed over the benefits of narrowing down an audience, we can actually discuss a user persona. So, here's the actual definition of one. It's a detailed, semi-fictional representation of a target user or customer based on research and data. Yeah, by all means, take a photo of that. Sorry, I realize I'm going to have to take a drink. I have my water here. I'll leave that there. Cool. And yeah, this is a mix of that data. So it very much will, user persona will generally be made up of demographics, challenges, appreciations, the online habits, goals, dislikes, quotes, and beliefs and values. I'll go through all those in a little bit more detail in a moment, actually. But, sorry, before I get to that, to put together a user persona, I realized for us to walk through it, we're going to have to create a company in the first place to first give examples of. So, over the weekend, a mate of mine came up with this idea, which is a company called Labsolutely. They develop pathology lab machinery, and their products are generally better than whatever is in the market right now, a lot more efficient and faster, and there is no friction in bringing their products into a lab because they require no extra training for the staff. So it sounds like a pretty good proposition for a company. And this is what makes up their users: lab managers, scientists, technicians, and lab assistants. Out of those four, can anyone tell me who the buyer in that situation would be? Yes. Lab managers is correct. So, as a result, as an example, we will put together a buyer persona from a marketing perspective. With that being said, all of this information should be relevant. So we'll start off with giving this person a name, and Andrew Mango is the one I stuck with. If you guys haven't, might notice in the future, all of my personas generally seem to have last names of fruit. It's a good little branding thing I've got. But yeah, Andrew Mango is a pathology manager. And it's a good idea to start him off with a quote. Start off his persona with a quote. Quotes are brilliant because they give us an insight into, they are research-based, and they give us an insight into the feelings and thoughts of the user, although in this case it's the customer. And he's very much thinking, I want my staff to get all the help they need to reach their numbers. So let's start off with some demographics. And an image. So demographics are obviously very basic information: age, gender, occupation, and geographical location. In Andrew's case, we can see that he's in his late 40s. He's got a household income of just under 200K. He's got wife, kids, 2 teenagers, and he's traveling about 20K to work every day. I understand that not all this information is going to be relevant to anyone in a product sense, because if you're designing for a product, I understand you might not be worried about how far he's traveling in a day, especially if he's traveling by car and is probably not going to get time to use your product. But we'll get to that. Marketing-wise, this is actually really useful information. Next, we'll add some beliefs and values. Oh, and his attitudes towards those values. So, we understand it in Andrew's case. He really values his balance of work and home time. So work-life balance. And he has a really convenient approach to his diet and fitness. Again, might not be that relevant to product sense, but branding-wise, that's fantastic. We already have an understanding of how this guy thinks. We understand where he might be lacking in certain enjoyment in areas of life. But here's one of the most relevant things that you might find useful if you are in the product space, which is he believes in the newest tech and making the workplace better using the newest tech. So he's enthusiastic about following that. Next, let's add some appreciations and associations. These are like motivations to what drives him. In Andrew's case, that's work socials, again, keeping up with new tech. He's a member of a church, so he's a believer. And he's got a nice local community behind him all the time. So he cares about the details as well, which makes him a good manager. Dislikes. These are further behaviors. Influences of his behavior. He really doesn't like late people. He doesn't like hiking, which is a personal preference. And he doesn't like the job interview process. You really wouldn't ask him to interview late people on a hike. That was such a terrible joke. But yeah, sorry. Next, let's look at his online habits. Now, anyone working in websites or actually in marketing strategy, that is absolute gold. You know exactly where he's going to be. You know exactly where not to spend your money. Because it looks like he doesn't really consume any information outside of the web. Medical articles wise, he'll probably be consuming that on one of his plenty of platforms. But yeah, keeping track of someone's online habits is fantastic in the sense that you'll get a very good idea about where is the best to reach them. And this usually encompasses some kind of communication as well. Hence this little symbol. Next, challenges and pain points. Now, I know a number of people have spoken about this in the past, and it's absolute gold, isn't it? If you're working on a product, you need to know users' pain points. And this is where the shift goes from marketing focused to product focused. And oddly enough, he really doesn't like the human side of his labs. So, yeah, maybe more machinery and more automation is good for him. He also really doesn't like the old machines breaking down at work. That's really relevant to what Labsolutely is doing. Next is, is goals. This is also one of those key factors that you need to get a grip on if you're going to be producing a product for him, especially if you know the goals that he can achieve with your product. And now, keeping in mind a couple of those are very personal, like working towards retirement and to be a grandparent, but leaving the company in a better state than when he started there. You could definitely help him with some new equipment, new machinery. And lastly, desired benefit. This is really, really useful to always have, and it's basically the starting of our selling proposition to him. We know that Andrew can really make use of our pathology machinery to make his pathology labs a lot more efficient. Now, here is a little example of, I guess, all the things that will be useful for UX and product. Notice that I've kind of dimmed most of it. And here's everything that's useful for branding. In a branding context, notice that there's literally like nothing blanked out. Now, I've made a Sheets template full of these particular categories that you guys can find right here. It is a free resource. I haven't checked whether or not you'll need to ask me for permission to enter that. But if you hands up anyone who's been following along and actually creating a persona for themselves using these same categories. No one yet? Okay. Don't worry, you can watch this back later. But yeah, if you'd like to discuss it after this talk as well, I'll always be here. Now, I have a couple of quick tips for this to go along with your persona that you've just created. It's worth revisiting it often. And I don't mean like hire a consultant often to like look over it again. I mean literally just as and when you learn more about this person that you've created a persona of. Oh, I realized I didn't actually mention that. That last persona that we just did is based off of someone I actually know. But again, all this information is actually available when you have user interviews and surveys that you've put into place. So without too much asking, you'll be able to capture a lot of this information. But this is actually just based off of someone I know. Another pointer is routinely make new personas. In the last company I was at, we created one persona every month for about 2 years. Actually, no. Maybe a little bit more than that, because I think we ended up with about 30 in total. And so, granted, some of those will go to waste. But you at least explore your options as to having that information to know that it's useless is better than having that information. Better than not having that information at all and not trying. And plus, it's only about an hour commitment every time you want to create a new one. So once a month is not terrible when you're part of an in-house team. And make sure you cover the aspects that are most relevant to your offering. For example, if you're only going to be using a persona for marketing needs, you don't necessarily have to include all the pain points of their microtransactions or micro behaviors on a phone, but it's not a bad thing to know. And I will actually end these tips with a quote from James, who gave a talk probably about 2 months ago, which is, let the results inform rather than instruct your decisions. It's not a be-all and end-all persona about any one of your customers. It's going to be heavily influenced by the truth and semi-fictional. So yeah, in summary, I hope that I've covered user personas in the should not be a reflection of the founder sense, and are true. They should be as accurate as possible representation of your target customer. And they should be comprehensive and based on real data. So, lastly, something to implement into your business. If you didn't do the walk along, then I would totally recommend just like as soon as you get to your desk today, spend a little bit of time thinking about your customer. Jot it down. There's another approach that you can take, which is called it's either a customer profile or a pen profile, and that's just a lot more condensed. But it's nowhere near as comprehensive. Oh, I appreciate your guys' time today. I genuinely really appreciate the opportunity to hang out with the startup community this morning and speak to you guys about this. I hope I have provided you guys value, and if I have, then by all means head to my website, fill in my form, enter Startup24 so I know where you've come from, and we'll actually just have a chat. I would really love to catch up and actually just build more relationships within the community. It's not necessarily for a console. That code doesn't actually do anything. Unless you use it on Singapore Airlines website. I'm sure it'll give you some kind of discount. But yeah, there's everywhere you can find me. And I think now is probably a good time for questions.
Fantastic. Thanks, Ash. Who was following along and creating a user persona while he was giving the talk? A few of you? Cool.
Yes.
All right. Does anyone have any burning questions? Dave.
Yes.
Thanks, Ash, for the breakdown. Just a question on how you actually acquire the information about your user persona. Like, how did you know that Mr. Mango disliked hiking? Because that resonates with me. Like, I'd put that down. But how do you know that that's actually like how do you go through each of those categories? Some of that stuff was pretty esoteric.
Yeah, of course. So from a branding sense, I've always asked, when I meet people in general, I always ask what they really don't like. And I ask these kind of questions anyway just to get a good read on people. That's just been my personal experience, but actually in user interviews that have been conducted by engineers while I've been in the room, I've always had to ask these kind of questions as extra. Just like, what really ticks you off on a day-to-day basis? Because sometimes I guess it's not a quantifiable thing to ask for. But yes, mostly curiosity that gets me that. You can definitely ask them in a survey. You can ask your customers in a survey. Would totally recommend that.
Cool. Any other questions?
Go closer. So you get the data about the user from doing customer interviews. Say you do 100 customer interviews, would you then try group similar people together? So say maybe have 10 personas from those?
I would. Oddly enough, I've never had to rush to create interviews into personas. So I would revisit all those interviews as and when I kind of needed to find a new persona. And if I find someone who is different enough from the previous one, I will create a new persona out of it. And the more I guess you get to the more you get to reference back to that person is generally it's not a bad thing as long as you can find differences in their pain points, even if there's two people that are really, really similar, but different pain points. It's worth making another persona of.
So how many personas would a typical company end up with, do you reckon?
My experience has been pretty mixed with that. Sorry, Scott. Yeah. It's been really mixed with that. Every company that I've been to has actively gone out their way to make personas internally, and they've actively not looked for marketers to do that kind of thing. So as long as you set the routine in place with the founder who has some time and someone who's in marketing, then you'll eventually just pick up a dozen or so within a year. Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Nice talk, by the way. Thank you.
Cheers.
I just wanted your opinion about one topic. I come from design background, so I'm familiar with personas, but then during the time I kind of strayed away from it and started started doing more just finding the right people to build relationships with and just kind of spar constantly with, like a key user groups somewhat. And now after this talk, I'm kind of rethinking whether I did the right call, and I just wanted to know your take on it. So what do you think about pros and cons of each, and which one is...
It's good that you mentioned that. I can safely say I haven't tried that method yet. I don't think I've been in a position where I can just constantly spar back and forth with with the potential user. So I think you're actually in a pretty good position there. Like if you're exposed to that, then it sounds like it might cancel out the need to constantly produce customer personas. But I've always found value in them and in creating something which the whole team in one company can look at. So when I was at the previous company, it's something I shared with the engineers just as much as I look. Whoops.
Just give it a wiggle.
Yeah. It's something I shared with the engineers just as much as I actually looked at myself. And it reminds everyone on the team what we're all working towards.
Oh, all right, go for it.
Yes. Yeah, sorry, I just had a question. I work in a small business, right? And there's only a couple of people who I work with, and we have a pretty good understanding of our customers just through actually having conversations with them. And a lot of that's just all head knowledge. Would this be, for me, I feel like this isn't going to be useful because I already know my customers. Would this be something which... Sorry, I'm not saying that it's not useful for anyone else. It's just like...
Good.
Yeah.
Go on.
Sorry. But would this be a good handover tool to be able to say, look, this is the customer that we service when we talk to designers or when we talk to marketing or when... Do you know what I mean? Like when we're looking to scale, is that where we sort of see customer personas, or is there something I'm missing? Because you mentioned challenging founder assumptions, but I feel like we already know who our customers are. You know what I mean?
I completely get what you're saying as well.
Yeah.
But if that information's all in your own heads, I would say you're bound to miss some information when you're onboarding someone else. So definitely when you're expanding a team, it's good to have something down on paper or in a Google Sheet that everyone can reference quite easily. Because, you might well be on the same page as everyone else that you're working with right now. As soon as you bring a consultant on board, externally, or you just have a new hire. It's good to have that information somewhere, right?
It also gives you a common language when you're talking with your developers or marketing team. You can say, that feature really works with John, but not Jenny. Jenny, if you actually give names to user personas, it just gives you that language to communicate.
Mr. Mango, Mr. Kiwi.
Thanks for the talk, Ash. I was just wondering, and probably some people are sitting here around that founder's problem, where when you've got 0 customers and you're sort of solving your own problem initially, what's your recommendation about your first buyer personas, like forming them, when you don't really have any or not many customers?
Well, I'm hoping by this point that when you've established a company, you've attended a few networking events. So in which case, if you've got literally even one person in your mind that you'd like to sell to, it's good to use them as your number one reference. And even if you don't know that much information about them, a lot of the personas start off as assumed character traits. But then as soon as you start to catch up with those people a lot more, it becomes a lot more accurate. And those, for example, those customer profiles that we often started with at my last job that were rather inaccurate with everywhere around their demographics, we eventually just filled in that information, and we really we learned more about their pain points as well, and they become a hell of a lot more accurate over 12 months or so. And that's not just revisit every week and make sure that we update it. It's as and when you learn more about that particular customer.
And even if you've got no customers, surely you're speaking to customers at some point before you've got a product. If not, you should be.
Thanks, Ash. Just, I guess, an observation, and maybe you can add to this as well. But I really think it's probably company stage dependent depending on how sophisticated, your personas end up being. In the beginning, obviously, you've got more engagement and touch point with your customers, but then as you scale, then you need to revisit this exercise, but also break down the assumptions inside each of those personas and test those assumptions more and more. I guess from your experience across the teams that you've been involved with, how have those personas evolved as the company's grown? Because I take that you've been involved in some growth of companies as well, right?
Yes. Coincidentally, though, in all the companies I've been involved in, they've not only sold back to the same people, and we end up having a lot of their information anyway. But sorry, I can't remember where else I was heading with that. But essentially, yeah. So I just need to understand that question a little bit better. How do I see?
Do these personas evolve in your experience?
Yes, and yeah, actually, definitely. Yeah, because 2 years onwards from making the personas in the first place, that person might have either slightly different values or value the same things a lot less. So, or value just new things completely differently. So definitely if they changed within decades of age, then yeah, definitely their values have changed. And their pain points are just completely different as well. What mattered to them before really might not matter to them now.
Yeah, just a question. Can we get a copy of the slides? We can send those around, or
absolutely,
yeah,
there will be a version of them.
There's also the live stream if you want to see it in replay mode. Cool. Any other questions? No? All good? All good. Well, so thank you so much for that. Going through user personas, hopefully that all gave you something to think about as you progress through the day ahead and speaking to customers and getting those interviews underway. So we're going to break, but please join me in thanking Ash Vadolia.
Thanks, guys.
Woo! Nice work. Thank you for volunteering your time and educating the startup community. Really appreciate it. So 2 weeks' time, come back here. We've got the double header. We've got Kate Kerwin, and then we've got the Mesh Points panel and all the cool programs around Perth as part of West Tech Fest. Get up bright and early and then stay up late with the Freo Tech Fest that night. There's a whole heap of going on. Enjoy the food. Thanks to Keep Space. Get to know each other. We're going to turn this place back into a co-working space, so be aware of flying furniture. And we'll see you again in 2 weeks. Thank you so much. Cheers.
I'm going to make it. This is my routine.